Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we're doing a special edition of Spotlight on the Community Show here at Yanni's Bar and Grill. It's a fundraising dinner for Rady Children's Hospital, and I'm going to let my co-host talk about what we're going to chat with. That's Isabella Pihas. Yes, you recognize the name. She did a wonderful job co-hosting many of my Spotlight shows, did her own four-part series as well. An honor to have you sitting right next to me.
I'm very grateful to be back, Drew, and especially supporting a cause that we are tonight, which is PIBD. So PIBDs are Pediatric Inflammatory Brain Disorders, which basically occurs when a child experiences inflammation and can trigger neurologic, neuropsychiatric symptoms as a result. As it's sort of an underrepresented disorder, children can go years without getting the correct treatment, and really getting it in the acute stage can be important to make sure that they don't experience kind of chronic, long-term challenges. And this is a cause that is especially important to me as someone who experienced a PIBD of PANS, which is Pediatric Acute Neuropsychiatric Syndrome. And yeah, I had the resources to get the care that I needed, and a lot of children don't have that. So I'm really excited to be here and help raise some money and talk to some people, and yeah, hoping to get children care for PIBDs.
That's good, and we're talking to the right person here. We're honored to have with us Dr. Jong Rho. He's the Chief Division of Pediatric Neurology at the Rady Children's Hospital and a Professor of Neurosciences and Pediatrics and Pharmacology at the University of California, San Diego. Dr. Rho, what an honor.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here.
So talk about how long have you been doing this in this field, and what inspired you to do this?
Well, the brain is inherently interesting because it kind of defines who we are and all of the things that we have to face, as well as all of the opportunities that bring joy, creativity, and purpose to our lives. So I became interested in the brain long time ago, and I never realized I'd become a neurologist or a neuroscientist. I love children. All ages, young adults, and I felt that the best way to bring pediatrics together with the brain was to become a pediatric neurologist, and so I decided to go into that field many years ago.
It's great. With the community support, we're building an effective and collaborative model to care for children with PIBDs. Talk about that. Is it really growing?
Yeah, I think, as we understand more about brain function and dysfunction, and the underlying reasons why people have symptoms and deal with these, sometimes very devastating disorders. We also become to recognize that, it's never a simple thing to just label a disease entity or a brain disorder as a certain eponym or a name. In fact, there's a lot of things that kind of cross over. And I think relative to the brain, one of the challenges has been to look at how neurology can merge with psychiatry to deal with neuropsychiatric as well as cognitive and other behavioral symptomatology. And so it's only been very recently that we've begun to realize, there's a lot more in common with these types of conditions and symptom manifestations than previously we understood.
Exactly. Isabella?
Yeah, I was actually just curious too, are there, what are sort of the challenges kind of facing that, the psychiatric and neurological, and how are you kind of fusing that together?
Yeah, I think historically, we all tend to live in sort of our little comfort zones and silos and labels and traditions about how we function and how we identify ourselves. And I think various subfields of medicine are no different. Neurologists train like neurologists, and they have a certain worldview of how the brain works or doesn't work. Psychiatrists the same way. And I think in many ways, we haven't really integrated the neurologic and the psychiatric aspects appropriately enough to be able to better understand what's actually happening, and not so much focus on the specific symptoms, but asking the fundamental question, what's causing this? And is there something that we can do about this that might mitigate, improve all of the symptoms, whether neurologic or psychiatric, historically?
As you know better than anybody, research is so critical to answering that question you just had. Research is not inexpensive, but we all know the results are going to be just huge. When you figure out something about one cause, especially I love talking about neuroscience and neurological stuff. A lot of our guests we've had on with Huntington's disease or ALS, Alzheimer's, keep on going. You solve one or move close to one, you may do something with the others too. Are you making a lot of inroads in that with research in this area?
Absolutely. I think what we're learning is that lessons learned in understanding one disease entity can cross over to many other different areas. And in fact, if you reduce sort of the understanding of disease down to the basic elements, the molecular, the cellular, the genetic, etc., there's actually more in common with these disorders than one would realize. And so we've made huge advances in our understanding of what causes brain disease and all the symptoms that arise from that. And in particular, I'd like to emphasize the fact that brain inflammation, while it's been recognized in the context of things like meningitis, encephalitis, actually probably underlie most, if not all, brain and mental health disorders to varying degrees. Inflammation is a central paradigm that, it's there for a purpose, but when it's pushed into the wrong direction or overly accentuated, it can cause damage to the self. And it's not all about bugs, viruses, bacteria, et cetera, attacking you. It's about your own immune system attacking yourself.
Right, exactly. We are chatting with Dr. Jong Rho, Chief, Division of Pediatric Neurology for Rady Children's Hospital and Professor of Neurosciences, Pediatrics and Pharmacology at UC San Diego. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We are honored to be here at Yanni's Bar and Grill with this wonderful fundraising dinner. I'm, of course, with my wonderful co-host, Isabella Pihas. I know this is near and dear to your heart as well. Let me ask you this. With this issue, with this disorder, is it genetic? Is it not genetic? Is it caused by the environment? Is it we don't know enough research about it?
It's probably a combination of all of it, right? So there are genetic susceptibility factors. There are genetic conditions that kind of predispose you to inflammation. There's environmental, exogenous factors that influence that. I think all of that comes together to sort of create a very specific, individualized patient problem, or a phenotype, as we call it. So we can't assume that just because a patient comes with a certain set of symptoms, that they're going to be like the exact next person that has the exact same set of symptoms. In other words, the symptom complex may be similar between two patients, but the underlying causes and the factors that produce the problem could be very different.
Right. One of the questions I know Isabella, she's been on the show many, many times, we love to ask, and Dr. Rho, what can our listeners do to support these efforts? Learn more about it, obviously, but listen, make contributions helps too. That helps with research, doesn't it?
Absolutely. In fact, I think a lot of the sort of transformative things that hospitals and universities are able to do come from community support. Without community support, we can't really sort of, break out of the box, take the risks, invest in areas that may not be so obvious in terms of, return on, sort of transformation or effects or impact on the community. So I would say that the best thing that the community can do, any individual, would be to learn more about it, first of all, and learn it from the proper sources as opposed to sort of, maybe potential misinformation that's very rampant these days.
Right, exactly.
And then to find out how they can help in their own way, whether it's through donations or volunteering for, organizations, whether they're lay or, professional, to really kind of bring further awareness to this and greater support. Because the more people know about it, the more researchers and clinicians kind of find out about it, they're going to have to find that it's intrinsically very interesting. And so the more people we can bring together for that common goal of understanding this to the point where we can better treat our patients and their families, this is all going to transform the way we care for our patient population.
Yeah, absolutely. Isabella?
Yeah, I was going to ask, what would be, if you have any advice for parents or children who might be, suffering with these symptoms and thinking, well, maybe I have a PIBD or something like that. Do you have any advice for them in terms of care, research, next steps for getting that care, since it is a disorder or a branch of disorders that is kind of currently just now sort of being brought to the forefront of medicine?
And I'd like to say that in response to that, PIBD is a broad label over many, many different disorders. And quite frankly, many healthcare practitioners may not really understand, what that is or begin to appreciate it. So we in medicine are sometimes kind of symptom oriented. If you present with a headache, then you think there's something growing in your head, or I think the best way for patients and their families is believe in the symptoms because they're real. Number two, find out as much as you can about what the potential causes might be. Bring it to the attention of your healthcare providers, but also ask for an opportunity to be evaluated at specialty academic medical centers that might have these programs available, right? Because it's really the partnership between the community healthcare professionals and the academic teaching hospitals, and where all the research is being done, where the multi-specialty programs are being built. Because at the end of the day, one physician, no matter how well experienced they may be in one area of medicine, can crack the nut. It's going to require an involvement of a team. In the case of PIBD, with neuropsychiatric symptomatology, we're going to need psychiatry, neurology, rheumatology, infectious diseases, and the list goes on. It's not a singular subspecialty area.
Right. So is there a website people could go to learn more about this? I know Rady Children's has a Neuroscience Institute. You can just Google that and then find out more information about this?
Yeah, there are many different sources one could go to.
Sure.
So the Neuroimmune Foundation probably is the best source.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are pushing the frontier, bringing the experts together, having educational symposia, conferences, and really trying to make everyone aware. And also to provide an opportunity for research, collaborative research, that enables individuals to really dig deep into the roots of PIBD and more specific diseases and disorders like PANS, PANDAS, autoimmune encephalitis, etc.
Yeah, you just hit the magic word, in that it's collaboration. I know it's used a lot, and then a lot of people don't collaborate. They do the exact opposite on that. But, of course, we know this in San Diego. We have such unbelievable biomedical institutes, hospitals like Rady Children's Hospitals, great organizations, UCSD, and everything in between. This is really a good place to be if you want to do some research in this area, is it not? Absolutely.
In fact, if you take the San Diego Mesa and look at all of the prestigious institutions that are out there, whether it's UCSD, the hospitals like Rady, or whether it's the Scripps, the Salk, the Sanford Burnham, etc., collectively, it's actually second to none, right?
Correct.
The secret is to bring the people together for very focused and targeted efforts, which requires, human nature being what it is, carrots and sticks. How do you get people to work together for a common cause? Right? And I think that's really a challenge.
Yeah, and we've all seen, heaven forbid, when we all row in the same direction, Isabella, we actually go forward and we go somewhere on there.
Who knew?
Not in circles.
Exactly. Dr. Rho, any final comments?
I would say that for those of you out there who are suffering from symptoms without an answer, being told that maybe it's not real, or for that matter, being a subject of various treatment strategies that haven't worked and only produce side effects. Don't lose hope. Don't give up. There are many different resources that one could turn to. And I think that if you are able to find out more about this through proactive efforts, through community groups, to foundations, to your healthcare practitioner that you see on a regular basis, right? You can tap into things beyond what is available right there in your community. And when you start that journey, and you open that door, a lot of things can become very clear. And I think that, so bottom line, don't lose hope. And come together and believe in what it is that you have to fight in order to get better. And so I think that's really the central message I would like to send.
Well, Dr. Rho, cannot thank you enough from coming on, and for all the wonderful work you have done yourself, with your staff, with your collaboration, with your colleagues on this, making San Diego a much healthier place, and for those families as well. Isabella, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for your insights on this. We've been talking to Dr. Jong Rho, Chief of Division of Pediatric Neurology at Rady Children's Hospital, Professor of Neurosciences and Pediatrics and Pharmacology for UC San Diego. You've been listening to a special edition of Spotlight on the Community here at beautiful Yanni's Bar and Grill in Scripps Ranch, raising some good money for Rady Children's Hospital. We hope you enjoyed the show.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are doing a special edition of Spotlight on the Community at beautiful Yanni's Bar and Grill in Scripps Ranch. It's a fundraising dinner for Rady Children's Hospital. Honored to have back as my co-host, Isabella Pihas, who, as you have heard of what she's done, a 4-part series on Cloudcast. She was my co-host for quite a while, and this topic is near and dear to your heart, is it not?
It is. So tonight we're fundraising for PIBDs, which is Pediatric Inflammatory Brain Disorders. And if you hear the people in the background, we are here live from Yanni's. People are just starting to come in, and we're all excited. This is a subject that has been really personal to me, as it's something that I experienced since I was 12, experiencing a disorder of PANS, and so I'm very grateful to be here, raising funds to get care, and now interviewing someone who was a very important part of my healing, which is my own mother, Denise Pihas.
Hello, Isabella.
Right. Who is the owner? Is it co-owner or owner? How do we say this?
Co-owner.
Co-owner of Yanni's and so forth. And Denise, I know this is just a wonderful deal that you and Yanni are putting together for this very important cause. Talk about that, how important this is to you.
This is so important. I have really been working on this since 2017 to have some type of program at Rady Children's Hospital, because there are so many children in our own community that are not able to get the care that they need for the PIBD. So you're going to hear that word probably a lot
right.
During this podcast.
Exactly. So when Isabella had this, how old was she?
It's 12 years old.
12 years old, okay, right. And did you know right when she had it, this was it? Or what type of research did you do? Did Isabella's very smart. She probably did a lot on her own at age 12. and Yanni's, when did this come to fruition for you?
Well, unfortunately, it was really quite shocking, because she had an illness, and it was within a day or two after her illness, it was like somebody had kidnapped our child and replaced her with somebody else. She was not the same person, and at the time I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, but after some time, and it took us actually about 2 years to find a doctor that could actually do a diagnosis for her, 2.5 years. That is when we found out. But it was about a year in that I started putting 2 and 2 together, that there's something wrong, and that it was very clear to me she had an illness and that something happened directly after that. And all the symptoms that she was having, she started having seizures, sometimes daily, a lot of anxiety, lethargic. The list was quite long. And as the time went on, the list grew and grew.
So when you first brought it up to her pediatrician, was it misdiagnosed? What is, she'll grow out of it, we don't know what the heck this is, all of the above?
All of the above, but essentially, initially the doctor said, it's okay, she just needs to go to a psychologist, she has anxiety.
Right. And so, as you've heard me say many times, when my father, who was one of the top doctors in L.A., if he was alive, he's rolling in his grave now when he hears that type of stuff. That is absolutely. And then you folks took action, did you not? And say, hey, listen, it's more than this.
Right. I started being a squeaky wheel, and just
as you should.
And I just kept going from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor, and just until I would get the right answer, because the answer kept coming back. It's anxiety. It's this. It's that. But I knew in my stomach, in my heart, that it couldn't be. I would have been happy if it would have just been a diagnosis of anxiety.
Right.
But I knew it wasn't, because prior to her illness, she was so much energy, the most social person that you would ever meet, reading books like there's no tomorrow. I used to think to myself, is this normal that she's doing so many activities? Like, she was playing guitar, she was a dancer, going to friends' houses, and that all stopped. It made a dramatic stop. Within like a month after this illness, everything stopped. We could no longer go to parties. It was too hard for her. She couldn't get out of bed. And there were the symptoms of psychological symptoms, like of anxiety, yes. Right. But there were so many other signs that, like, she was so tired. Her complexion changed from a suntanned girl to being ghost white. It changed.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and also, it's interesting, like, hearing this and now being better now. And it's also interesting, something I've been thinking about is, I think for a lot of years it probably felt like an isolated incident, but one thing that I've noticed that you've sort of taken on over the years as I've gotten better, as worked tirelessly to get me to this place and get diagnosed, is I'm just curious, like, what the experience has been speaking to other parents, because I know that you've had kind of countless calls. What is this, is it the same as mine, or like what is sort of the general response from the community? What is the barriers to care that people are experiencing?
Unfortunately, there is still a barrier to getting care, especially in Southern California. There are other places like UCLA. There is physicians there taking care of kids with Pediatric Inflammatory Brain Disorder, PIBD. Stanford has its own clinic as well, but you have to live in that area. But Southern California, south of Los Angeles, there's really no place that kids can go to. They do, to get that comprehensive and to get the diagnostic done, it's really hard.
Yeah, we are chatting with Denise Pihas. She is the owner of Yanni's Bar and Grill. We're at a fundraising dinner here at the restaurant for Rady Children's Hospital, focusing on pediatric inflammatory brain disorders. I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media, joined by my co-host Isabella Pihas. Because I've known you for a while, Denise, and what you don't want to do is get on the wrong side of Denise, because she'll be a bulldog. And of course, then when it comes to her kids, multiply that by about 4 billion, as any mom, and of course her husband Yanni would do as well. Now, with we just heard from Dr. Rho. What quite a gentleman he is, and in this space here. We need about 1,500 more Dr. Rhos running around,
yep.
I imagine. And what he was very clear on is that, listen, we all know this research takes money, okay? But just as important as the research is an awareness of what's going on. And that's beautiful what you're doing here at Yanni's in this area, where you're going to have about 90 to 100 people here today?
Yes, I am. When we first came up with this idea to do a dinner, I thought if we would have 60 people, we would be very lucky. And the amount of support has been remarkable, including yours, Drew. But so many people we've already raised prior to the dinner, close to $8,000. It's just remarkable, the support we're getting. And I think now is a time where, since the pandemic, I think people are more aware of neurological symptoms after an illness. And so, now like long COVID, everybody knows what long COVID is.
Right.
I guess you could call this like long strep or long pneumonia.
Right.
And people would understand the correlation that not everybody heals the same way after an illness. And depending on their susceptibility, they may have lasting inflammation in their body.
I'm going to brag about you folks here, and I know I'm going to catch it for this afterwards. I can just tell you right now, no more tiramisu for me forever. But the reason why you have so many folks here is whether they've been impacted by Rady's Children's Hospital for anything, or especially pediatric inflammatory brain disorders, is what you and your husband and your daughter and your son and this unbelievable staff you have built for 21 years. People love you, they support you, and whether they know about this disease or not, all this does is just talk about how important it is for companies like yours, restaurant, connected to the community. And listen, this is absolutely poster child for why what you folks have done have got you to this point. So sorry to embarrass you, but it's true. It really is. And Isabella, you know that. The people that just love your mom and your dad and you and the staff for all the work they've done, this is why there are people here,
We are so fortunate. We have absolutely the best guests, the best employees. Some people I didn't even ask for a donation for a gift basket, and they just, here, what do you need? What do you need? And I'm just blown away by all of the support. And for me, I feel like what I am here for is to share awareness and advocacy. Awareness because somebody here might know somebody that their child was just fine.
Yes.
And there's no explanation why overnight they changed. And so I feel like now that I have my girl back, it is absolutely my duty to do the best I can to spread the word. And so I try to support other moms going through this and letting them know it's going to be okay. Just keep at it. Listen to your gut. And I'm just really fortunate.
Yeah, and also what goes with it, of these 90 plus people that are here today, it's their network of folks they know, and their network. Where were you doing last Monday? Well, I was doing this thing with my goodness, I just heard about that recently.
Yeah.
And as Dr. Rho had said, Isabella, research is critical, raising money for research, but you can't raise money for research if there's not an awareness on this thing, without question on that. Isabella, I know you have some other questions for your mom.
Yeah, I was, kind of a goal here tonight is expanding care, kind of a more tangible goal of funding a nurse coordinator. But I'm just curious, what, in your ideal world, what would it look like for treatment would it be, just awareness in the doctor's office, channels of speaking? What would that look like for you?
All of the above. Research is absolutely necessary, and I think we have one of the best health institutions to do that, and especially coordinated with UCSD. But right from the get-go, things need to change within the hospital to have awareness. So perhaps in my perfect world, if a child went in with a sudden onset of these strange symptoms, that they may check them and see, was someone sick recently in your family, or were you sick? And maybe check and see, is there strep still in the blood system? Are they in mold? Is there something going on with toxicity? With my perfect world, there would be, gotta
say hi to the sheriff.
People saying hi.
It's a live show.
It's a live show. In my perfect world, we would have a multidisciplinary care unit. So if someone came in for some type of strange symptoms, that they would say, let's send you to such and such office, who they're going to work with the team of doctors to rule out everything first before we give you that psychiatric diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry, just one more thing I want to say.
Please.
We all know that there's a mental health crisis right now. We all know that. So Rady Children's Hospital continues to have increased amounts of children going to the hospital for psychiatric emergencies. There's now a special ER for that. When in my perfect world, if there's like one kid a month, 5 kids a month, it's worth all the money in the world to save that child. Because for me, I have my daughter back.
Well, and not only do you have Isabella back, but Isabella, who was blossomed for 75,000 it's not just Isabella, it's the family unit, it's her siblings, it's her aunts, uncles, friends, and all that who have benefited from this. And I think a key point is that, yes, it's important to treat the person who has X, but look at the tentacles they have now, correct?
Yes. And one of the kids that are going to come on to speak, Adam, who had pandas also, he has done a TED Talk, very articulate young man, and just spreading awareness and advocacy. They're like the next generation. They're going to do amazing things.
And they already have done and even more amazing things.
Yes.
Because I'm getting old and feeble, and I need people to help me out. We are chatting with Denise Pihas, co-owner of Yanni's Bar and Grill, as a fundraising dinner today at this beautiful restaurant in Scripps Ranch, benefiting Rady Children's Hospital Pediatric Inflammatory Brain Disorders, joined by her wonderful daughter, Isabella Pihas, a longtime co-host of Spotlight on the Community. Isabella, any final comments?
Yeah, well, I just had my kind of last sort of little question is, as you said, we're experiencing, there's no question about it, a mental health crisis. There are children looking for answers. You've seen it, I've seen it, I think everybody has seen it. For anyone who's experiencing this right now, maybe the parents are in a frenzy, they don't know what to do, what advice would you give to them for parents of children who might be experiencing these symptoms and don't know what's going on?
So what I would do is I would suggest that they look up PANDAS, but the acronym with a period, so not looking up the fuzzy cute animals, and looking up the PANDAS network, because they have a whole wealth of information on their website, and as well as neuroimmune.org. They also have just so much information for parents, and most of them have physicians where you can, a list of physicians that you could contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
No, it really is. Any final comments, Denise?
I just really appreciate so much, Drew, that you are doing this. The idea that it's a live podcast, that we're having this dinner with all these amazing people, and that we're raising awareness for this debilitating and isolating illness is just incredible. And I thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Well, it is absolutely our honor, and we can't wait to get the audio link out there to blast it to your 4 billion Yanni followers and all that, and so forth. As you know, Cloudcast Media is very close to you and your daughter and your husband and so forth. And I'm honored to meet your son. I haven't met him yet. He's going to be here today, so that's going to be terrific. And just can't thank you enough for everything you do for this community. In many ways, and what a pro! Your mom did a great job.
I know.
Absolutely fantastic job.
She was so worried for nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
Now I still have to speak with a microphone, microphone.
No, you'll do.
Thank you.
You do great.
Thank you so much, Drew, for giving us this opportunity for the people that don't have the ability to go and search for answers. They might, even from this show, so one of your listeners, one of your 4 billion listeners might know somebody, or like you said, with their outreach, they might know somebody that they talk to.
Yeah,
will learn something.
Well, I'm counting on it. As a matter of fact, thanks for the introduction to Dr. Rho, because I'll have him on a future Spotlight show down the road and talk about how this did it as well. Denise Pihas, it's always an honor to be in your presence and your.
Thank you, Drew, and thank you, Isabella. Absolutely.
You've been listening to a special edition of Spotlight on the Community here at Yanni's Bar and Grill, fundraising dinner for Rady Children's Hospital and Pediatric Inflammatory Brain Disorders, better known as PIBD. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.